Hey everyone, it is Brian Kaz here, also joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. We have another call for you right here, and this is all about essentially increasing the value and price point of absolutely anything you sell, regardless, even if you are starting from scratch. You can apply this to like any service or even products, including stuff that you can sell with WebFire. And then we also have the second part will basically be about how to improve your business funnels and how to really turn like a little business into a large one. And we'll also have towards the end of this call, we'll have some free software that you guys can take advantage of as well. So pretty cool stuff. And we'll actually have some free software on this call as well as on next week's call as well. So this is basically the second of three Jumpstart series right here. So pretty useful stuff. Hopefully you guys got a lot of value from the last call, which we did last week. If by chance you missed that, just make sure to basically check out the training of that under the training tab on the left side navigation. Then just click on the Wednesdays and you'll see all the calls there with the latest ones at the very top there. But definitely make sure to basically check out last week's call because we got a lot of very good feedback on that. So to make sure that you get a notice when we do these calls, make sure that you sign up for future calls and also check out a lot of our past calls inside of WebFire as well. We oftentimes see like a lot of questions like, hey, do you have any training on this? Or hey, can you do a call on this or that? And like 99.9% of the time, we'll have at least like 4 or 5 trainings specifically on exactly what they're looking for. So just make sure to basically check out some of the past calls. Luckily, they're all labeled by basically, their title, and you can search them by keyword and stuff too. I know there's a lot of them. I think there's over like 150 or so trainings there now, but super easy to check that out. So if you're here or you're registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week so you don't forget. So each week that we do a call, we'll send out some reminders to you. But if you can't make one, no worries, because we'll have the recordings up in the members area, usually within about a day or so. Again, under the training tab on the left side navigation bar, you just click on the training, then you click on the Wednesday one right there, and you see a drop down right there. Now, these calls are typically focused more on marketing and basically techniques with WebFire tools instead of like how to use X tool. As we already have walkthroughs and stuff in the in the members area on how to do that. So if you have a question like, hey, how does basically Tweet Lead Finder work? Or hey, how does the keyword essentially tool work? Well, we already have a walkthrough next to all those tools right there. So that's why we have those there. Whereas these are more like bigger concept, like, hey, here's how you can market with it. Here's how you can sell this as a service. Here's how you can easily rank. These are the easy steps to do for this or this. Here's some affiliate marketing tricks. This is kind of what these calls are essentially geared for right here, to make sure everyone gets the best use of their time. And if you want a chance to win $100 today, make sure you sign up for our free Facebook group right here. It's just getwebfire.com/FB group. Again, it's just getwebfire.com/FB group. And towards the end of this call, you'll have a chance to win $100, but you have to be a member of that free group right there, and we'll give you some instructions on what to do towards the very end of the call right here. So just a quick heads up again on this call and on the next call. This call and the next call will have some free software on it to basically help you with your businesses. This one on this call right here will basically help on building out a business, whereas the next one will help with essentially analyzing and improving basically your current or your future business. So this will be completely free, no strings attached or anything like that right there. So just a heads up. So you'll definitely want to check those out. So now we can move on to our training for this week, where we'll reveal how to increase the value and price point of anything you sell, as well as how to build out a better business model or funnel, essentially. So for the overview, first, we'll basically cover how to increase the value and price point of anything you sell. including stuff that you can literally sell it for essentially 10 to 100 times more, if not more than what you probably currently do, and how you can sell more of it as well. And then we'll also talk about how you can do that even if starting from scratch. So I know some of you are saying, well, if I don't have a product or a service or anything now, so this won't apply. No, it absolutely will, because I'll show you how you can easily do it yourself, or including using several of the tools inside of WebFire. And I'll even show you some ways of basically doing this hands-free. Then we'll talk about how to basically plan out and build out a better business funnel, and we'll actually show off some free software, which will actually give you guys a special link to as well, that again, you'll get absolutely for free. Then I'll follow it up with the Q&A, where you can ask any question you want, and then we'll do the cash giveaway at the very end. Now, with the questions, you can ask any question you want throughout the entire call. There is essentially a Q&A box or a questions box. I won't stop every like 10 seconds, because then we'd be here for basically a very, very, very long time. But Sean and Sharon are on this call while I'm basically talking, so they'll basically text back some of the responses to you, or they'll essentially type back some of the responses to you. Then at the end of the call, I'll basically take a handful of live questions and such then as well. So either way, we'll make sure to get all of your questions answered. And of course, you can always reach out to us at support@webfire.com as well, if by chance we missed one or anything like that. So moving on, would you like to see one of my biggest secrets and tips for making a ton of dough fast? And this applies to literally probably any market. All right, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. It's by increasing the value and price point of anything you, or basically others, sell. So that leads on to the talk here on how to increase the value and the profits. And this is an important topic. I've mentioned this a couple times throughout the years to WebFire users, where if you're selling a service, for instance, let's say a ranking service or a social media service or anything like that, there's guys that try to sell stuff for like $5 or $10, and there's guys that try to sell stuff for thousands and thousands of dollars. And oftentimes the mistake I see is everyone thinks, hey, to be competitive, I have to sell it super, super, super cheap. And that usually just shoots yourself in the foot. So especially when you're selling like web services and stuff like that, including stuff that you can do with WebFire, like if you're selling like an SEO service, or like a schema making, or a lead finding service, or social media management, or video making, or like a content making and distribution, or like a PR service, or anything like that. You want to make sure that you basically target kind of elite offers, or try to at least make your offer have a lot more value to it, which can also increase the amount that you can sell it for, which can also make it so more people want to buy from you at the same time. It's kind of ironic. You can have a lot more people wanting to pay you like $1,000 than basically people that want to pay you $10. So it's one of the very big lessons I've learned over the years, and hopefully you guys can use it as well. So let's start with a simple example. And I think the simplest one to probably explain is maybe an article writing example. So for this next example, I'm going to show how like a $5 article can turn into something that you can sell for thousands of dollars. All right. So if you have an article writing service, it looks kind of like this. Usually the majority of businesses out there, or the majority of article writers out there, will have what I call a basic level service. Like you hire them to write an article, and that's basically it. The competition usually is very, very high. There's a lot of these guys. If you do a search on Google for like article writers, or anything like that, you'll probably find a lot of them. So the competition's high. The cost is usually relatively low. I mean, granted, there are some expensive guys out there, but you could find a lot of article writers in bulk for as low as like a few dollars an article. I'd say probably like 5 to 10 is the norm for like a very good like English writer. Some might cost a lot more, but there's also a lot less that might be like $2 or $3 an article for ones where like the quality can be okay, but not always the best there. But again, you're competing with all those, so it doesn't matter if you have the best quality in the world. You're competing against guys that are a fraction of the price. But it can also be, if you have a basic service like this, on top of the cost being low most of the time, you often have a very low profit. So either you're basically taking $5 and spending like a half hour to like an hour on it, in which case you might as well work at like a McDonald's or something, because you'll probably end up making more on like a time basis. But even if you really whip those out fast, you're not making a ton off that. Or if you outsource that, like let's say you find a good writer that in bulk will basically write articles for like $4 an article, and if you sell it for like $5 or $6, you're making only like a buck or two in an article profit, even if you outsource that. Now the good news is it is a minimal amount of work, so it's not like it takes a super long time to write a basic article, but that's also why you're not getting paid a lot off that. But you can increase the value and price point of that a bit by making minor tweaks. Instead of offering a basic level service, you could offer a basic plus. This might be where you say you have an article writing plus SEO on top of that, where you're basically saying you'll optimize the articles for SEO. Now, let me ask you guys a question here. What is the difference between a normal article and one that's optimized for SEO? Any guesses? All right. Looks like some of you are close, some aren't. So realistically, there's not much of a difference. The only difference might be the optimized one might have the keywords that a site is trying to basically target or rank for in the title or in the article itself. And realistically, if you write, let's say, an article on how to grow a strawberry garden, if your keyword was, how to grow a strawberry garden, realistically, your article is probably going to contain those keywords anyway. So just by saying it's optimized for search engines, and just by using the keyword, in the content and, maybe ideally in the title itself, you have an optimized article writing service. Now, the fun part here is that the competition is now medium to low. Instead of high, it's medium to low, because there's less writers offering optimized articles. Now, there's still a lot of them, but there's significantly less. So instead of like there being like, basically tens of thousands, there might only be like, maybe a couple thousand or so, or whatever the number is. It's significantly less. But the cost is still low. It's the exact same cost, the exact same amount of time. So it doesn't actually cost you, much. In fact, in almost all cases, it shouldn't cost you any more to outsource that, because to ask a writer to use a keyword in the article, you're not asking them to do any extra work. But the profit can actually be okay here, because instead of charging like, $5 to $7, you could charge maybe $10 to $15. So then essentially right there, like let's say you go from, charging $6 for something that cost you $4 to outsource, to now you're charging even basically $10. You go from a $2 profit to literally a $6 profit. So you basically tripled your profits without doing anything else, just changing what you say in the offering, and the amount of work is literally the exact same. But you don't want to stop there. You want to go and step it up a notch and maybe have a premiums service. This is where you could do the article writing plus optimizing it for the search engines, plus maybe submitting that piece of content or that article to like, like a blog of theirs, or to like an article site, or to, just like basically doing something with that article. That would be more like a premium. If you want to do like almost like a step above that, you could even turn that into a video, like using WebFire's video Firestorm tool. You could also turn that into a video. Now, the perceived value of that, in fact, that's probably an even higher perceived value right there, would be huge. If you turn that into a video as well, again, the competition is not that much at all, because there's very few that are willing to do all that stuff. The profit or the actual cost is still really low. Even if you used WebFire's video tool, you can literally copy and paste the entire article into a video and have one done like that in literally like 30 seconds. You could have one done like that. Now, if you want to, basically do that work yourself, or you want to pay an outsourcer like an extra dollar or two to basically do that, that's fine. But the profit can be huge. So in this case, instead of charging like, $5 or $6 or basically $10 on the basic plus on the premium, this could, I mean, if you charged even like $30, okay, a lot of people would say, hey, that's a steal of a deal, especially if you have the video part on that. I mean, I would probably even charge more. I mean, even like 50, but let's say conservatively, let's say you charge 30 in that case. The amount that the person gets seems huge. They get an article, it's optimized. And you turn that into a video for them, and you submit that article to a site, or you submit the video to YouTube. If you included the video, I again would charge a minimum of like 50 on that. But like right there, you go from basically adding what, like maybe a few minutes of work extra, but your profit goes from basically making like a $2 profit to essentially making like $40 plus. So you basically make probably 20 to 25 times your profit without actually doing much of anything. I mean, you literally took maybe a few minutes more of someone's time, or maybe like a couple bucks of outsourcing work if you want to be generous, and greatly increase the value and the price point there. But you don't want to stop there. You can step it up a notch and offer what I call an elite service. This is where you could do an article, you could optimize it for the search engines, you could submit it, you could even, again, turn that into a video if you want to basically take that a step further, and you could turn that into a blog or a site and maybe make like a few articles, so they have like several pages of content and maybe like several videos along with that right there. Now, this is, extremely, extremely little competition in this case, because almost no one offers something like this. The cost is still very, very low. So even if you had like, let's say 5 articles made and had those turned into 5 videos and had those, all turned into one site, you can make, or you or your outsourcer can make like a blogger.com blog literally in minutes. If you go to blogger.com, blogger.com, it's free. Literally within 5 minutes, you can have a nice blog up. You can hire someone on Fiverr, Fiverr.com, to make like a custom graphic header, and you have a fairly nice looking site there. That's like for $5 for the graphic, maybe $5 if you want to be generous to set the blog up and post those articles. And if you pay like let's say $4 or $5 an article times like the 5 articles, and you pay like a little extra for the videos and all that, I mean, literally for like $50 or less. And that's being generous to an outsourcer, because like you can do all this work easily, and probably if you're writing five articles and you're fast at it and they were on the same topic, you could easily do everything in a couple hours time. So getting $50 is pretty good even for like a first world country, even though that, hey, like a lot of the guys that like set up blogs or do the basic stuff like that, they're working basically in countries that earn a lot less, so that'd be like paying incredibly well. So the cost is still quite low, but the profit is huge, because instead of basically making a profit of a couple dollars or like $5 or $10 or $30 or so, as you basically go up the levels, in a case like this, you could charge, I mean, $500 to $1,000 easily. At $500, it'd be an insane deal. Like literally, it almost would be sound too good to be true to get that for $500. Although you probably sell a lot of them like that, and your actual cost would be about probably like 50 or so. So you'd be making $450 on the low end. You could easily get away with selling these for like $1,000, and you could basically back end that with like maybe ongoing SEO or additional things like social media management or stuff like that, and make a lot more. But this is really a crazy unbeatable offer, and the value seems huge. And if you put yourself in the shoes of a business owner, what sounds better? I'll write you an article, or hey, I'll make you a site, I'll optimize it, I'll fill it with basically content, I'll turn the content also into a video, and I'll submit those, and I'll optimize those, and you'll get this whole like custom blog and everything. I mean, that sounds huge. And a lot of those guys' eyes, they're thinking, hey, that might be like, a $3,000 to $5,000 thing on the low end. And when they see that, hey, you're offering that for a fraction of that, that's again a crazy, crazy, crazy deal. You can even step that up a notch on top of that and basically offer like a PR service as well, where using WebFire, you can take all those articles or even take like an extra article, let's say, and try to submit it as a guest blog post on basically other blogs that accept guest blog posts, that you can find those using our guest blog post finder tool. Now, a service like that alone, just the PR service alone, I've known people that have sold stuff in the $500 to $5,000 range. One of the clients I know even sold one for actually $1 million. That's obviously like a crazy exceptional story to basically get that for $1 million. But 500 to 5,000 is a much more like realistic, plausible price point for a lot of businesses out there. So when you include that for free, it's like, holy cow, you're literally getting a service that they're expecting thousands of dollars for free included in all that. And for, again, if you're charging like $1,000, they think, again, that's a crazy awesome deal. And all you're really doing is just bundling stuff together that each one takes maybe like, 5 or so minutes each, but the perceived value is absolutely huge. And for someone else to basically do this on their own, they either don't know how, or they would assume it would take basically days. When again, if you were to do all the work yourself, maybe a couple hours, once you got used to it. But again, you could outsource a lot of that and use basically the tools and stuff to literally get a lot of this done in a matter of minutes, or completely hands-free if you outsource that stuff right there. And again, when you get a guy that basically pays you $1,000, then at that point, that's a perfect client for ongoing stuff like social media management, or maybe you'll offer to make them a schema. Maybe you'll do ongoing SEO. Maybe you'll help them find, ongoing leads. There's a lot of services that you can tack on, including saying, hey, included with this huge, huge package, you'll include a free month of whatever additional service you want to basically offer. So again, lots of value, huge, huge, huge benefits right there. And you can see how, hey, all of a sudden, selling a $5, $6 article doesn't sound as neat as selling like $1,000 service with a huge margin of profit. And right there, you went from a profit of like $2 if you outsourced it at the first bit, to if you outsourced it on the last one, on the elite one, you go from a $2 profit to literally a $950 profit right there. That's that's huge. That's over 450 times more profit with, literally something that can be basically tweaked in a matter of minutes. All it is slightly changing what your offer is. And again, if you were to post this offer out, even on like basically classified sites, or list it to like, if you went to freelance sites, or just mailed your list on it, if you made like a mini sales page on it, or if you reached out to a handful of prospects out there, this is a super appealing offer. That again, that's the kind of thing you need to get people to get hooked initially. Is you want that like super, super appealing offer where it's almost too good to be true, but it is true and it is there. And again, all those can be worth a lot of money on the back end as well. So even super simple tweaks can make a major difference. Literally any product or service you have now, you can turn into an elite offering. You can, step it up a notch big time and sell it for a lot more. For instance, you can go from a $5 article to a PR service for thousands of dollars. In fact, as I said, we had one client that sells like regularly, basically PR stuff in the $500 to $5,000 range, but he even got a $1 million client, basically doing almost the exact same thing, just a bit more work, but it was for a higher end client that got more value out of it right there. But the difference between writing, basically an article for a half hour yourself versus having like a PR service that you use the press release tool or the guest blog post finder tool inside of WebFire, and use that for like less than five minutes and reach out to a handful of places. That's a lot less work, but the value is worth way more. You're making way more for a lot less work at the same time. So with a few simple tweaks, again, you can easily go from $5 to hundreds of dollars or even thousands very, very easily. Now, we can basically brainstorm several other examples as well, especially with the knowledge you already have or basically can have, with WebFire. So like, we showed how, hey, with a basic article, example, you can go from an article writing service to something that like makes basically custom blogs and, has like a PR service linked into it and it optimizes it and you turn it into videos and all that as well. I mean, all that stuff you can use WebFire to help with, including turning, a basic article into video very, very easily in a matter of like a minute or two, including optimizing stuff, including creating content fast, including, finding guests or finding basic places to do guest blog posts, including finding stuff to easily optimize or finding keywords and stuff to basically target. I mean, there's a lot of tools that can easily help you there. But there's other ideas that you can easily do as well. So, we basically talked about, hey, how you can have like, like an SEO service that you make it more hands-free. You can have a social media marketing service. Again, you make it more hands-free, you make it more done for them. You can use Social Poster Fire inside of WebFire to literally put their social media on autopilot. And, something like that, that's something at a minimum that could be worth hundreds of dollars a month for every client that you get. In some cases, probably a lot more, but that's a pretty easy deal right there that literally takes, only minutes of your time to basically do. So all of these are services that you could easily sell and have it be more hands-free. You could also do like a lead finding service with all, with some of the lead finder tools inside of WebFire. And again, those are things that you can sell either by themselves or you can basically back end it on any of these packages like here and literally have stuff that you could sell for hundreds of thousands, in some cases even hundreds of thousands a month. And again, it doesn't just have to be with web services. You can do this with almost anything. Like I know a person in the real estate niche, and they used to sell like simple products and books and stuff like that, and that was all fine for a while, but it was hard to get to the next level on that. So what they basically did, they went from selling a book to like increasing the value and also the price point of the products and services that they basically offered. So they went from making essentially a book to then having like what I call a basic plus, where they had like a video training course, and instead of selling that for like $50, they would sell the video course for closer to like, at the time I think 500 to 1,000 or so, for basically almost the exact same knowledge, just in like a video series, because the perceived value is more. But then they went and they took the knowledge and the training and they turned it into software to help do a lot of stuff that they were being basically trained on. So it was a bit more hands-free or done for you. And the software would sell for several thousands of dollars each. And again, some of the same knowledge in there, just more hands-free, so people are willing to pay a lot more. And then they stepped it up a notch even more, and they had a service where you could literally pay, like, I think it was like, I don't know if it was like $15,000 or what, but there's like 15 to 25 grand or so, and basically you could get on a bus with a bunch of other clients of theirs that each were paying like 15 to 25 grand or so, and on the bus they basically tour you around to like 100 homes that they already did the math on in like a given area. They knew that they were awesome deals. They already got like basically quotes on any rehab work and stuff like that. They had the contractors on the bus with you if you had any questions. They had like I think like some kind of banker people and stuff, like anything that you would need to buy a house was like right there on that bus, and you could literally just say, I want this one, and that one, and they could make that deal happen for you right then and there. So very, very hands-free. And apparently they would sell out every single time here. And all it was again, it was the same knowledge, the same stuff that was being taught in the $50 course was just applied here, but more hands-free. And that's why people are willing to pay a lot more. So it's important to also note here is that you don't even have to be the one doing the work here. And it can also work on services and on products as well. So it doesn't have to be a service. It could be on a product. So like you can turn a basic apple that you can buy at a farm for pretty cheap, and you can turn that into like a pre-sliced, pre-packaged apple at a gas station with a major markup. And you could mark that up even more by turning it into, like a caramel apple whipped cream then for probably like a quarter or less more of actual cost, yet you're charging like 15 times, if not basically tens of times more. So again, there's always ways to kind of increase the value and price point of anything there. You can also go to sites like Fiverr, Fiverr.com, where there's lots of services sold for like $5 or so. They also have some smaller ones that are more than $5, but they have a lot that go for like the $5. But again, yeah, you can go to places like Fiverr.com. You can go to classified sites like basically Craigslist or whatever the equivalent is. I know in the US it's basically Craigslist. I know overseas in some places it's basically Gumtree, but whatever your local classified site is, you can also go to relevant forums, outsourced job sites like freelance.com and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. And you can find highly rated service providers with great services, but poor sales copy. And then you can kind of offer to like resell their services with basically better copy or like a better offer, or you can combine a few great service providers together and offer an elite service. And what's neat is oftentimes if you're looking for like social proof and stuff like that, you can write these guys and say, hey, I'm looking to sell a service like yours to my people. If I use you to basically fulfill this service as like a white label type deal, first, would you be interested in that? And second, if so, would I be able to use your examples and testimonials in the sales copy and such? And pretty much almost all of them will say yes, sure, because again, they're getting paid. That's what they want. They're getting paid exactly what they asked for. And again, you're making a lot more off of it because again, you're making their offer appear far better. Like here's an example, using like videos or SEO or websites and stuff. There are literally guys on Fiverr that will make you a basic blog for $5. Okay, and maybe there's also ones that will make like custom header graphics and stuff on the site for $5. There's ones that will write like 1 or 2 articles for $5. And if you combine those, all of a sudden you have, hey, a service that can make custom websites with custom graphics, with custom content, maybe with also custom SEO, where the value of that could be hundreds of dollars right there, but your raw cost to outsource everything on Fiverr is basically $20 or less right there. But the service is worth way more to all these guys out there. Or another example of videos, one is there's high-end like animated videos and stuff like that sometimes are sold for like thousands of dollars. I've seen guys that actually do a decent job on Fiverr that you could get somewhat comparable ones and basically the $25 range or so right there, that just by basically targeting your crowd or your audience or your prospects in a different light, in a different manner, you can show what the actual value of it is in a much better way, and make way more off of it. And this is like one of the primal lessons of marketing is how you word your offer, how you present it, what the perceived value is, can greatly affect how much you can get out of it. Like there's guys that sell videos for basically $25, like essentially custom made ones that could easily sell stuff for $1,000 or more, even thousands of dollars, if they just marketed themselves a little better or tried to basically target the right basically kind of crowd or audience. And some of you might think, hey, well, that's not fair if there's a guy that's basically undercharged or overcharged. Well, what do you say with basically cars then? There's a lot of cars out there. There's some cars that you can get for a few $1,000s and some cars that you can get for millions of dollars. Guess what? Each one goes from point A to point B. In some cases, the cheap ones will go from point A to point B even better than the super expensive ones. Yet there's basically people lining up to buy the super expensive ones, whereas the cheap ones don't get oftentimes a lot of publicity. In fact, with a lot of cars, a lot of the cheaper models, like you can get a lot of cars that might be brand new for, let's say, like 15 to 25,000. Oftentimes they might have the exact same body, the exact same essentially base as a car that might sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's just spruced up a bit, but it's the marketing behind it that makes the difference. Or like a watch. There's a lot of watches out there. There's some watches that go for $5. There's some that go for $5 million. What's the difference between the two? Well, both of them tell time. One might look a little more expensive. One might have a better brand behind it. Sure, you can argue that one might be made better, but that's not always the case. It's all in the perceived value and how you basically market it. And that's why I really encourage you guys to look at how you market and sell your own stuff, and also see like, hey, what can you do to maybe have a more elite offering? What can you do to, if you don't have anything right now, to maybe use WebFire to have a service, but turn it into like an elite service where you basically make it more hands-free, more done for you, or done for your clients, where you can charge a lot more, basically offer a lot more, and have a much higher perceived value at the same time. So once again, there's really no excuses, because again, any of these, you don't even have to have a service yourself now. You can use WebFire, you can use outsourcers that you take any of their existing services and make it more elite, and then make a huge profit on those right there. The only thing holding you back is really yourself for basically taking action on that. So moving on from that, now let's basically talk about another important way of making more money for basically your current or future business. So similar to making more by increasing the value or the price point of stuff you sell, is by basically doing this. And that's by fixing a mistake that the vast majority of businesses make. And that's most basically try to get rich off of a single product, or even worse, off of a $7 product like a book by itself. That rarely works well. Now, I know some of you are saying, well, you can make millions off of a book. Yes, the writer of Harry Potter did. Good luck being the next Harry Potter. Is it possible? Sure. And if you do, awesome. I'd be super happy for you. But it's highly unlikely, that you're about to make millions of dollars off a $7, a $7 product, or even $20 product. Is it possible? Sure. It's just very unlikely. And even using the Harry Potter example, what was made off the books is most likely a tiny fraction of all the money made off the brand. I mean, there's essentially billions of dollars from the park at Universal Studios to the movies to the play. I mean, tons of money. But even in your case, if you're selling a book that's not nearly as popular, you want to go again the extra mile to also make sure that you're making a lot more money off of the back end. And that means you not only need a funnel with other upsells or one-time offers, but you need a super appealing front end to get the most prospects in. To help with this, we actually made some software which we're actually giving out to you for free with no strings attached. But first, I'm going to demo it for you as I explain how you can improve your business model with it, and then I'll give you the link to get it for free. So don't worry about that. Just going to pause the screen for a second right here as I switch on over. All right. All right. All right, switching over here to the screen. Just making sure I'm just going to relog in just in case. All right, cool. All right, so we are inside the software in question, and again, I'll give you a link where you can get this for free. And this basically helps you build out funnels essentially. And you can build out like your own funnel from scratch, like here. I'll say new test funnel. And what a lot of people have is they have like, you know, something where they sell a basic book, they sell it for $7, let's say. I mean, it can be anything. And you know, if you're doing pretty good, you know, you're getting maybe like, you know, maybe 3 to 5% conversions or so. Let's just say you have an exceptionally awesome sales page, really good leads, and you know, you're making, you know, let's say 5% conversion rates, which would be quite good on a lot of traffic sources on a $7 product. So you could add that right here, and it adds your front end there. And what a lot of people do is they basically have a model like this, and they're like, hey, I just need tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of traffic, and I'm going to get rich. Well, here's the thing. Let's say you do a bunch of work and you get 1,000 clicks, okay? If you get 1,000 clicks, you'll make $350 if those clicks are all free. That's, you know, time and essentially money to get those clicks right there. But what happens if you're charged for those clicks? Like if you do paid ads, if you want to ramp stuff up, let's say it costs $1 a click. What happens in that case? Uh-oh, you're losing $650. And getting, you know, clicks in a lot of markets for $1 would be pretty good in, you know, a lot of markets, yet you're losing a ton of dough. So a lot of people would have a model like this and they'd say, oh, this online marketing stuff sucks. You know, I tried to get some ads out there. I tried to get some traffic, and either I wasted a lot of time to get a bunch of traffic, or I paid to get it, and I'm losing money. This sucks. No one wins except the people I'm basically paying money to run these ads or to do all this traffic. Well, guess what? That model might be okay. You just need to tweak it a bit. It's like you needed to add upsells or basically one-time offers, which are for short is OTO, or one-time offers, which is special offers that they see after they get the book. So maybe there's like a video version of that. Maybe with some extra training that we sell for $17, and you know, and of the people that come in on the front end, you know, maybe 10% basically take us up on that offer right there. You know, it could be low, it could be high, doesn't really matter a ton. We see right here, oh, you're still losing a decent amount of money for 1,000 clicks if you're basically paying $1 a click for. And again, you can change this up, but let's say, hey, we work on the conversion a bit and we get it up to, you know, basically 20%. Oh, actually, I shouldn't change it there. I should change it right here. I forgot about that. You can change it right here. So you click right here and let's say, hey, I do some work on it and I basically double the conversion. So out of all the people that come in on the front end, I get 1/5 of them to buy the video version, but hey, I'm still losing a lot of dough there. Well, I can create another OTO, which maybe would be, you know, instead of the video version, it could be, you know, a special webinar that maybe you sell for, you know, $97 as like a one-time fee. You probably might not get like a ton, but let's say you get maybe you know, 1 or 2, let's say 2% to take you up on that. So it's basically 2% of those that basically come in through the funnel. So it's not 2% of the traffic, it's just basically 2% of the front end. All of a sudden right here, you know, we're slowly starting to basically chip away at that right there. And then we can maybe have, you know, another OTO that has maybe, you know, some kind of coaching offer related to that right there. And we sell it for maybe $9.97, and maybe, you know, a fraction of per percent basically take us up on that right there. And again, you start to kind of see like, hey, you know, this model, you know, it's okay, but it's not really doing all that well still. Well, then you can say, well, hey, what happens if I maybe tweak the value and price point here, and I try to sell a $27 offer, and let's say I go from like, basically 20% down to maybe, 15% because of that. What would happen in that case? Oh, look, still losing, but basically doing a little bit better. What if you increased, the value and price point of this stuff, and maybe you worked on that, and your conversion went down, but your price point, you're playing around with that. What happens on this if you try to, a lot of times you'll find the price difference from like $100 and $200 oftentimes isn't, a major difference. You can play around with stuff, and oh, look, you see it's starting to slowly get a little better. But it still looks like, hey, you're having a really tough time trying to make like a lot of dough off this right here. So it kind of gives you an idea of, hey, maybe I want to play around with the model a little bit differently. Maybe I want to change the price points. Maybe I have to work on, increasing the front end conversion a bit right here, or maybe the price point a bit. Like if I increase it just a bit right there, hey, I'm all of a sudden making, at least a little dough off the $1,000. So basically, spend $1,000, you make $1,300. That's not bad. Maybe you find like, hey, if I charge $17 and my conversion rate goes down a bit, what happens in that case? Basically making a bit more. What happens if I, let's say I want to make like a downsell? You can add those in. So let's say you have a downsell to the video version, and instead of $47, it's basically $27, and instead of basically 10%, let's say you get like, oops, I meant to put that there. Let's say, what do we have here? 10%. Let's say you get it at 5. It's like half that right there. Make a bit more. Now let's add another downsell to the special webinar right there. And maybe instead of the 197, maybe we have a special downsell for 97 right there. And maybe we get, 1% to basically jump on that. And again, you can kind of start to see, hey, what, well, actually, it'd probably be more than 1% because this is of the buyer. So realistically, probably be more like 5 right there, actually. Oop, I should probably change it up here, actually. Because this is based on the actual buyers, not the front end traffic. And you start to see how, the numbers start to drastically change right there. Like, hey, if I can get, if I can increase the conversions right here, if I get 5% of the front end buyers instead of only 2%, you can see, hey, that drastically starts to change right there where, hey, I'm making $1,000 profit. So what you want to basically do right here, or even like right here, let's say you add a downsell to the coaching. And instead of 997, you say, hey, instead of having the coaching at 997, you have a downsell where it's a recording, so they get access to the prior calls and the prior stuff right there, and you'd have maybe like an okay take rate right there. What happens in that case? You can start to see, hey, you can slowly start to increase the price point. So you go from losing a lot of money to making more than it's essentially twice what your actual cost is. So instead of paying like $1,000 and losing a lot, you pay $1,000 and you earn close to basically $2.5 grand, walk away with a profit close to $1.5 grand right there. So you can start to play around with the model there, basically tweak it any way you want, and then of course you can save it and you have your own little model right there to basically test with. But you see how we basically went from something that lost us like $700 to actually making us at least some dough right there. And then you can see, hey, what does that look like if we ramp this up from like, 1,000 clicks to maybe, let's say we get 1,000 clicks a day. So in a month, we have 30,000. What does that look like? Well, right there, you're making 40,000 profit a month off that. So you can kind of see what that looks like. And you can also say, hey, what is the back end value of those worth? So every person that basically buys, you might say, hey, if they spend, $17 or $7 or whatever, maybe over time, all those buyers are worth like, an extra $2, let's say, from like, affiliate deals that you have or other deals like that. You can start to over time see like what the value starts to add up to basically be. But what we also have for you right here is you can also, in fact, I'll just save this one. So you see that it shows up, right there. But you can also click on any of these other examples, and this basically comes pre-built with several to kind of get an idea of what they should look like and what the realistic numbers will be. Now, having said that, when I say realistic numbers, that does not mean that your numbers will be identical, because there's no way that anyone in this world would know what the conversion rate should be for any given product, because it can vary so much. But it gives you like a realistic kind of range to shoot for. So there's like some people that say, hey, I'll get like 50% of my buyers to buy it, $1,000 coaching package, even though they signed up for a $7 course. That won't happen. It's not really realistic. If it is, you are insanely awesome. But realistically, no. So you can click on any of these that are basically closest to you to see like, hey, what would that look like? So if I have, let's say, an info product that's like a low price point one, I could click right here and it will load a funnel for me right there. And in this case, you see I have a front-end example book of how to basically teach your husky to talk, which is like a Siberian husky. For those that basically don't know, you can kind of they have extra vocal cords, so they can actually talk, like, or not talk, but they can say a couple words, like they can say I love you and stuff like that. So you could have a course on how to basically get husky owners to teach their dogs to basically say a few lines and all that stuff. So you might sell that for $7 right there. Then you might have like some upsells and stuff here and downsells, and it kind of gives a breakdown of what those products might look like, and then what it might look like after basically 10,000 clicks or so in this case. And you can play around with that, and see what that might look like or how that might work for you. And of course, you can also do any of these to start with, and you can adjust them. So if you want to turn it into like years, you can change the names, the price points, all that stuff. You can add more upsells, downsells. You can also see, hey, what happens if I sell high-end software? Okay, what's the model that might work there? So I click that, and I see one that says, hey, in this case, the front end, instead of being, the high-end software itself, is a free webinar training. So it costs nothing, and we get 40% to sign up there. In this example right here, that'd be a realistic number to basically shoot for. And then, of those that sign up, maybe half of 1% buy, and then maybe a tiny fraction of those buy an upsell, and a tiny fraction do some advanced training, and maybe some buy like, a recording, and maybe those leads are worth like 50 cents later on, and you see what the value of that could be right there, based on, in this case, basically 10,000 clicks. So you can mess around with this. You can add other upsells or downsells. You can do anything you want. If you have like a coaching offer, you can click on essentially the coaching one and see what that looks like. So in this case, you have a front-end offer, which is like a free video or webinar, or it could be a blog post with basically tips that they could sign up to kind of see, and get 40% to basically see or read or sign up to, get your free content there. and then maybe 1% of those basically take you up on a free consultation call. So again, just 1%, and it's free. And then of that, maybe basically a fifth of those that you basically talk to, or basically 0.2% of those that sign up will basically take you up on like a $5,000 package. And then again, there's like downsells into group coaching and also upsells into high-end masterminds, where it's a tiny fraction, but a lot more money. And basically downsells to one-time mastermind events and stuff like that. And of course, the back-end value of all those leads, you see that, hey, this could be worth a lot of money. So you can map out the funnels, you can change, the price points and the clicks, and just get an idea of what your model would look like. Now, here's what I find really, really neat. So initially, a lot of you will basically type in your funnel and you'll be like, crap, this really sucks. Because you're like, wow, I only have a product I sell for $7 and that's it. And if I do basically paid ads, you'll lose a fortune. If you get free traffic, you need a lot of traffic to make even little dough. But you might say, hey, what if I tweak some stuff? What if I change some stuff around? What if I add some upsells, downsells, and stuff like that? And over time, once you start to basically do that, you'll see that, hey, it's kind of fun to play around with your business, or you can even model it after other businesses you see to kind of get an idea of, hey, what might that look like? And again, if you have zero clue on what like conversion rates or anything like that might look like, we have like a general guide right here. Now yours might be significantly more, might be significantly less, just a general idea to kind of start with if you're brand new and don't know what those numbers are yet. So and it's also a cool thing that if you play around with and say, hey, what happens if I work on this versus that? Like, should you spend your time on trying to increase the conversions on the front end or on the back end? Well, you can play around with both on here and see which one makes more. Which one should you spend most of basically your time on trying to make better and better? So, and again, this is all free for you guys. You don't have to pay anything here. But yeah, so this is pretty neat right here. And again, if you don't have a product or a service yet, you can do a lot of the stuff with WebFire. So you could have a service where you sell a schema, which is what we basically talked about on last week's call, where it's the stuff that makes your site on Google tend to rank well and stand out well, have like the click to call if you're a restaurant, or like a bunch, or basically ways to look better in the search engines. And you could sell a schema making service where your front end might be just like a free video on what a schema is and what one looks like and why you would need one. And then your offer might be like a $500 schema making service. Your upsells in there could be like maybe like a free month of social media management included, or a free month of SEO included, that basically back ends into like maybe a couple $100 or a few hundred per month. I mean, you can play around with your whole funnels right there and kind of get a pretty good idea of hey, there's a lot of money sitting there if I just take a little action and really try to basically push this. So this is one of my favorite tools to play around with, because it really helps you kind of map out and build out the businesses and such. So definitely worth your time to try to basically check out right there. So I'm just going to pause the screen for a second. Before I pause that, I just want to say, if you don't have a service yet, again, you can use WebFire, but you can also build out, this can work on products or services or anything. If you don't have a service yet, you can also go to a place like basically Fiverr right here and literally get like service makers of like anything. Like if you want someone to design a blog, you can find, again, lots of I should probably be blog design would probably be a better word. So here's one that will make a WordPress design for you right there. There's some like cheaper ones too. I mean, you can find them from all sorts of price ranges right there. It's more like a pro one. And you can just kind of like, here's 2 logos for basically $10 right there. So you could have like a logo that you throw on like a site that you make. Here's like a header for website or blog for basically $10 right there. That again, you can throw in like a free blogger blog. Here's 5 blog post images for $10, so that's $2 an image. So if you want like 5 posts on a blog to look really fancy, they'll basically make it right here for you right there. So you can get super cheap stuff done at like a fraction of the price. You can also get like, as I said, using like the video example, if you want to combine stuff as well, you can get like, you can combine like a video making service with a blog making service and stuff like that. So you definitely can outsource all that stuff if you want. But having said that, there's basically tools inside of WebFire where you can turn all your articles into a video in a matter of a minute or two, super easily. There's stuff where again you can optimize a site super easily. You can make a free blog on blogger.com super easily. You can submit to guest blog posts super easily. So keep all that in mind as well. But I just wanted to say, like, even if you don't have a service yourself, you can either outsource stuff or you could use WebFire to help get all that stuff done super easily. So with that, I will switch to where you guys can get this. All right. So to get the free funnel maker software, it's completely free, no credit card or anything like that. It's not a trial, it's just completely free. But it's just for you guys right here. So you want to keep this link secret because this won't be up that long, but for a limited time, you can get this deal right here. You want to go to bizfire.com/funnel maker and make sure the details you enter are your actual email and all that, because it will be actually creating the account for you there. So make sure you have that basically typed in right, or you might not get the details on that. So if you go to that link that you see right there, bizfire.com/funnel maker, you can sign up and register for a free copy of that software, which you'll receive an email and all that, and you'll be able to log in within a matter of minutes, probably less. So just make sure you go there to sign up. And again, it's completely free. Make sure you watch when you sign up the first time. There is a walkthrough video the first time you log in. So it's only like 15 minutes or so, but it walks you through exactly how the software works and all that stuff. But pretty easy, as you saw. But I think this will help you guys a lot. So once more, it's just bizfire.com/funnel maker. And that is completely free. So next week, you'll get another piece of free software as well to help you out on top of training on how to improve basically your current or future businesses, as well as how to basically profit off of new services that you could sell using WebFire as well. So we'll also dive back into that as well. So now, if you have any questions or anything like that, you can feel free to ask those. I know lots of you have been asking questions that Sean and Sharon have been answering. And with that, as you're basically typing your questions and whatnot, make sure to also join our free Facebook group, which is just getwebfire.com/FB group. And this is also how you have a chance to win $100, which we'll actually do a drawing in a couple minutes here. So here's what you have to do. So if you're a free member of that group, and if not, sign up right now. There's a post at the top of the page from Sharon, and it will be posted within the past hour. So don't leave a comment on an old post or outside of it. There's a post in the past hour, and it basically says, hey, what did you think on today's call? If you leave any comment within that post right there, in fact, I'll just pause the screen as I show exactly what I mean. All right, just refreshing the page here. All right, Facebook's being kind of slow now. I'm gonna refresh again. There it is. All right. All right, so right here, you'll see towards the very top, so not the first one right here, but the one right here, which is the new activity in the past half hour. Sharon wrote, basically what you thought, what you liked. If there's any suggestions you have or anything like that, feel free to say so as well. So if there's anything you want to see basically covered, or any questions, or any kind of comments at all, feel free to click the comment button. So make sure you click it in here. Don't go to like an old one. So yeah, so make sure that you basically click right here, and I'll give you guys like another minute or two or so, because I see there's a lot of you writing comments now, and we'll go to random.org in like a minute or so, and we'll pick a random winner that you'll see live. So with that, I'm gonna go to the questions. So all right, let's see what the questions are here. All right, all right. All right, so there's a question from David here that says, do I have to know any programming to use this software? No, super easy. As you saw, like it literally is basically point and a click. There's like a 14 or 15 minute walkthrough. We probably could have made the walkthrough realistically in like 5 minutes, but we want to be like super thorough. So again, super easy. Watch that, and yeah, you definitely don't have to be a techie at all. So especially once, I mean, even without watching the software, you can probably get the stuff to work pretty easily. But I suggest you watch, the walkthrough first, just to kind of see it in action there. All right. So as far as what you do with the funnel maker, it's meant to kind of plan out, map out your businesses, see what might work, what might not, before you spend all the time in actually making it. And yes, this is a web-based software, so it stays online, so it works on a Mac or Windows or basically anything. So it's online based right there. That's why that link that you got, which is bizfire.com/funnel maker, that registers your online account. And again, there's no credit card or anything needed right there. It is completely free for you guys, just you. All right. And as far as there's a person asking what the link for was last week, I think you mean if like what the training was. So that's always available in the members area. So you'd get last week's call. If you log in, you go to the members, you click on the training, and you click on the Wednesday calls, and probably the first one that you'll see as of right now would be that one. But if you're confused or not sure, just write support at webfire.com, and they can send you straight to that link in question. Okay. All right. And yes, there's a few of you asking if it's really free. Yes, it is free. There's not even a payment form. Although if you want to send me money, I do accept any PayPal donations. Just kidding. Well, actually, I would accept them. Okay. Phil asked here, what is meant by a downsell? Okay, that's a great question. So I sometimes talk about upsells and downsells. So let's say you sell a $7 book, okay? That would be called a front end in most cases. That'd be like an offer. You sell your $7 book. An upsell would be when someone buys that book, you show them an immediate offer, like a one-time offer that says, hey, would you like to also get my special video course showing how to do this, and that? That would be an upsell. A downsell would be if they say no. If they turn down the upsell, you might have a downsell and say, hey, well, for half of the price, would you like to basically take advantage of all this, except it might not include this small thing right here? That would be a downsell. In simpler terms, like if you go to McDonald's or any restaurant, sometimes they say, would you want a drink with that? That is technically an upsell, because you bought a burger and they're trying to sell you into a drink. and yeah, so whereas basically downsell would be if you turn down the upsell, you get a lot of this at like a car dealership. Once you buy a car, they're like super notorious for like upsells and downsells. Like the like I've had one where like they try to sell you like a leather pro, like I had like leather seats in a Jeep of mine, and they tried to sell me like a leather package where, you know, if it ever got, you know, essentially tears or scratches, that would all be free to fix. And you know, the upsell would be for, hey, for $1,000, do you want this 5-year plan right here, and blah blah blah. You know, if not, it might cost $5,000 to fix, but for 1,000 right now, basically covered for 5 years. That would be an upsell. If you say no, the guy would then say, well, would you want you know, a 3-year one for, you know, $300 or something like that, where it's like a cheaper offer, still a decent one, but like you know, a good chunk less. And you can even have multiple downsells. Like if someone says no, like I think the guy that I had, he had like 5 downsells, where his last one was like literally like, is there any price that you would accept? But yeah, so that's upsells and downsells right there, in simple terms. Okay. All right. Yes. So I might be saying your name wrong, but Fad or Fahid said, can, oh, I just lost his question because it jumped up. All right. He said, can I use this for affiliate marketing? Absolutely. You can even use the funnel maker in that. In fact, 2 of the examples, in fact, I'll just show you. Someone's calling Sean.
Yes, they are.
Like, yeah, even right here, if we're in the funnel maker, we have 2 affiliate, you know, examples right there. So yes, it can work, you know, in affiliate marketing, and you can also use WebFire to help with affiliate marketing as well. Like we have, in fact, if you log into WebFire, go to the trainings and just basically type in, you know, affiliate, you'll see lots and lots of trainings on that. But there's multiple tools to help a great deal with that as well. And as far as how to approach leads, we actually have training on that as well. If you go to the training, we have we've have a couple calls on how to reply to leads and such, and we'll actually talk a little bit about that next week as well on the next call as well. All right.
That wasn't me.
That was me. Erica's on. All right. So what you?
I answered that long question, Brian.
Yeah. So all right. All right. So to simplify that, and that will be the last question that I think we caught up, and then we can wrap up. The question basically was, should they try to target like a bunch of content around a single keyword or what? Well, anytime you make a site or you try to rank or you try to target keywords and stuff, you want to target a variety of different keywords. Like if your niche is like, let's say, how to improve your tennis game. Off the top of my head, in like a couple minutes, I could probably brainstorm like, you know, 100 terms that I could try to basically target, and I could use the keyword, you know, the built-in keyword software tool inside of WebFire to help get a lot more. But like, you know, how to improve your forehand or backhand, how to improve your volley, how to improve your serve, how to improve your flat serve, how to improve your kick serve. I mean, there's all sorts of terms like that, that if you basically target each one and have like basically different, you know, essentially content or, you know, blog posts or videos for each one over time, you start to gain like a lot of traffic. It's almost like a spider web where you're like having webs all over, your hands in like a bit of everything. They're trying to basically grab lots of traffic from here and there. And you want to usually rather do that than just have all the pages focused around a single keyword, because it is best to have not all your eggs in a single basket or a single keyword like that. All right, so with that, let's maybe give some cash away here. So I'm just going to pause the screen for a second as I refresh the page to make sure I got everyone. All right. Oops. All right, there we go. So you guys will have like maybe 5 more seconds to leave a comment. I'll start counting. All right, perfect. Looks like everyone basically posted inside here. All right. So there are, how many are there in total? So there's 43, and again, I appreciate all the likes and shares and all that as well, and and all the comments. So there's 43. Last one, just so I don't count someone else. The last one is Tina. All right. So 43. So I'm going to go to random.org. This is for $100 that will send out via PayPal. I'll click on generate, and the lucky number is 19. All right, so 19. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So Virginia Purnell, if this is you and you studied in Grand Prairie, congratulations. You are $100 richer, or you will be, as soon as you send us your PayPal email. So if you just write that in the chat box, Sharon will see that and send it off to you shortly this afternoon. So once more, congratulations to Virginia Purnell for being this time's WebFire's Wednesday marketing call winner. So congratulations. We will basically PayPal you $100 as soon as you post up your PayPal email address. So once more, congratulations to Virginia. And with that, if you guys have any other questions or anything like that, feel free to reach out to us at support@webfire.com. And they'll make sure to answer you there, within a day or less, usually within a matter of like an hour or so. Yeah, so otherwise, hope you guys can basically join us on next week's call once more at Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so exact same time as we had right here. We'll have some more free software and some more advice and stuff as well on how to basically market services and stuff, how to reach out and talk to certain leads, and also how to basically analyze, and fix stuff that might be wrong with your business at the same time, and some software to help with that. So with that, hope you guys enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.